This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We infuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond. Hello and welcome to another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. I'm your host, Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Always a great pleasure to bring yet another entrepreneur to come and share their story, to come and share their insights, to come and share their experiential knowledge. It's always a thrill to learn something new from another entrepreneur and to get to broaden your scope, as it were, in terms of awareness about their field of economic endeavor. And my guest today is Atang Basadibotlhe Kemodimo. And she's going to talk about FOODGIRL BW, which is her company. But I won't go into detail in terms of introductions. I'll leave that to her. Let me just do a little bit of housekeeping, preliminaries as it were. Please make sure to strike that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And keep in mind that we really need your subscriptions and we need your support, because that's the only way we can cope with these algorithms in this particular platform. Please, we need that. It costs you nothing. It costs you absolutely nothing. Strike that subscribe button. Over to my guest. By the way, we have a book. It's called Nuggets of Grit, and it's available if you call my PA on 397-1368 and you show interest. You'll get a 10% discount, especially if you mention that you saw it on this podcast. So you'll be able to get it for 360 pula, which is a discount from the usual 399. With that having been said, over to you, Atang Basadibotlhe.
Thank you
do
so
you mind
much.
introducing yourself?
Kina Atang Basadibotlhe Kemodimo. A young girl, as we can all see, from Mabelapudi, a small village called Mabelapudi, just after Serowe Paje. So, I run a business called FOODGIRL BW. We do corporate catering around town.
I'm going to ask you about the business in a moment, but share a little bit of your background, education, and so on, where you went to get all these skills.
Yes. I'm a software engineering graduate from But University. I graduated in 2017. And then thereafter, I started, looking for a job. The whole charade of trying to get a job and
distributing CVs all over the place
and all of that. I did end up in a few places, but it wasn't working out for me. So then I decided, I'm getting my peanuts. I'm not getting what I went to school for. So let me try something on the side. That's how my business was formed, and that's how I then eventually got into the market of the
name is very
space.
interesting. FOODGIRL. A, what is the business concept, and B, why that name?
FOODGIRL BW. Okay, so when I was working back then, I was too much of a social media bird, so I used to go on Instagram a lot, and then there was a guy called Food Boy London, so I was quite interested, and I used to go on these food pages, follow him a lot, and he'd go to different places around the Europe or whatever, and he'd and I was caught by the name. I'm like, Food Boy London.
Is he a food critic or something?
Yeah, he's a food critic. So I was like, I'll be FOODGIRL BW, and I'll get my food out there, and eventually it'll go to the world. So that's how it came about, and yeah.
Okay, and what as I said, the business model in terms of what products are involved, what exactly are we doing? Okay, so we do, like I say, it's mainly just catering. So we do food catering, which is if you've got events, you're going to call us, and we're obviously going to provide all our services, our breakfasts, our lunches and dinners and all of that. But the difference and how we try to penetrate the market is we started a breakfast run. This breakfast run was, we did coffee machines. We had gotten a coffee machine, and with this coffee machine we would set it up and would do mobile coffee setups. So obviously with Coffee Botswana, we're not really
learned about the coffee business in terms of, your different types of coffees, the cappuccinos, the lattes, and your filters. So when we introduced that and brought it in also with our food, then it became quite interesting with the market around town, and people then started to understand hore with catering or with just breakfast, it's not your normal, oh, let me just bring a sandwich that has a tomato and onion, and tomato and cheese. You can play around with your menu and make it quite interesting. So a collaborative of our food and the mobile coffees then gave us the breakfast run. So we started doing a lot of breakfast runs in the beginning, and then eventually it trickled down to having the food, the lunches, the dinners, and just now extending into doing catering outside of town, because we do travel in these rural places or in the outskirts, your makadi pans, and the wilderness.
What sort of packages in terms of meals are you offering?
Okay, so we don't specifically say, okay, these are the meals we're going to be giving you. We give you as the client obviously give us the opportunity. You give us all your details to what your event is. You tell us the date of the event, what people you're expecting, your guests, and so forth, and then we curate a menu, listening to all those little details to what your event is. I mean, you could be having a brunch or a lunch or a dinner, so we don't have specific packages, but we do tailor it down to what the event is about and what we would suggest. Okay, no, if you're having people here for a board meeting, this is what we would give them. Or if you are having a brunch that's just the number of kids or whatever, this is what we would do.
Oh,
yeah. So
and
it's
what sort of clientele do you have currently?
Currently, we work with a lot of corporate, we work with government, and here and there we do like individuals. But I think since the beginning of FOODGIRL, we've really always worked with a lot of people in the corporate space and your government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone watching may be asking themselves, how do you transition from software engineer to become a foodie, so to speak?
Yeah,
And what was the thinking? I mean, just walk us through that process.
Okay, so there's one thing when you are fresh out of varsity, you are really mostly interested in getting a job. And when you get into the working space, then you realize, oh my goodness, I'm inducted with a group of, say maybe in our time, there was 6 of us, and in all 6, people would come in and go. They'd get inducted into the company, because I get obviously you're taken in and you're told, oh, otlabule a DSA, a direct sales agent, and thereafter, if you're doing well with those sales, then we can pull you into the business and get you into that. And then you realize, I've been doing this for a year and a half or 2 years, and people are getting hired, and I'm sitting here, and the same group of people that I was with, you're doing the job, you're even doing something, you're even better at them, but they're getting inducted in and they're now a part of the organization. So when you're always feeling left out, so for me that was the situation. I felt like, but I'm putting my A game and working, giving the numbers, but so and then I decided, let me so I started off then selling dijo ka hatlas ga 3 shifts.
Really?
Yes.
Right here in the CBD.
Right here in the CBD. I started selling food there, and then people used to come in, and that's a bit frustrating. You get to a point where you're like, and then you get there, food is late, people don't buy your food. Hey, what am I gonna do? And then
meantime,
in the time, and then I kind of realized I had a conversation with someone in the industry who then said to me, well, he's not in catering, but he's in the eventing space. Then he said to me, why don't you try open up a business? And see how this would happen, register the company. So before even registering the business here, FOODGIRL BW, I had business partners, but that didn't work out, and I just let it go. And then the frustration out of that now is I don't even know how I'm going to register my own business. And he helped me into then saying, okay, look, it's like a whole duelele ko secretarying, and then wena the same energy that you've been putting in more do that for me and do it for FOODGIRL BW. So that's how it was formed. And I look back and I think, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to this guy for that $1,000 he gave me to set up my business account.
Did you tell him how grateful you are?
I tell him all the time, but I feel like he doesn't get it. He's just like,
one of those things.
But
he was a difference maker.
He was a difference maker. He's such an inspiration to me, and he's done equally.
If he's your hero, you can give him a shout out.
Newman Ramantakani.
Newman? Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Native Events.
Oh.
He's my Superman.
Oh,
he did well. He did well.
Great job.
Yeah.
But someone might say, why didn't you start a business in software engineering, as some of your classmates have done, or software industry generally?
Okay, so when I eventually did software engineering, I actually didn't like it. Like after varsity, I applied. Get like that course. Okay, this is the one that you can do, and well, obviously your parents are happy about that. Oh no, wanna go do engineering, and for me, the whole 5 years is just terrible for me.
Really?
But yeah, I didn't like
but
it.
You passed.
But I passed. Graduate, and then
why
I was
is
just
it you didn't like it when you chose the course?
I've always wanted to do food. So Monica, can you please pay for me go South Africa? These are the papers. And she said, no, girl.
Can't afford.
We can't do this. This after that. And then,
but looking back, has your degree translated and been helpful even in the food industry?
It's been helpful in the sense that now I can obviously, it's not just the food, there's a lot of admin that comes to it. There's a lot of you learning how to, the processes into how you do everything from the minute customer up until the very end. Your reports with your team members. Okay, after we're done with an event, probably maybe a big event or whatever, we need to sit down and strategize. Where did we get it wrong? How do we make sure on the next event all of that is documented, all of that is kept in our files or Moodle iPadins or whatever. So all of that information, me then learning, being in university exposed me to knowing it's not just being in the kitchen. It's also if you're going to turn it into a business, not a situation where you're like, okay, no gidira a quick buck. You kind of have to think about the business aspect to it and the admin aspect to it, because if you get it right, then you could find yourself opening other branches or venturing into other businesses and being actually successful to that. So I think going to varsity and doing the degree did help in an extent.
It did help.
Getting to understand how to manage the number of people that I'm working with, and it's a whole team. So
I understand. Time to talk about your successes and triumphs. What comes to mind when you say, there I really hit it out of the park?
Okay. Now then, getting and working with big corporates in Botswana, and then being trusted to do events that are that have the honor of having the president there, and all of that. Then I was like, oh, girl, you did it. You had to do it.
Yeah.
So for me, being able to be trusted by all these corporates, by Office of the President and all of that, to say, okay, no, that alone. And you know, my biggest success, this is my biggest, I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah.
US Africa Summit. Oh wow! Last year.
You did that?
Yes, we did that. 2023.
I saw the name, but I saw the name FOODGIRL. Yeah.
US Africa Summit, and knowing you're catering for about 5,000 people, and you're like, ooh. It was scary. It had months and months of planning, but the execution, my goodness, I could see.
What does it take to pull off something like that?
Like I said, planning. There's a lot of logistics to it, and coordination, and knowing, okay, if I'm going to, I'll give an example with our coffee runs. So if we're doing an event for an event that's mixed, I'll say a recent one, like last week we did an event which was mixed between coffee setups and food catering. So you'll find you have to start your planning. How bali 300 in one day, and they're expected pakela baje ka 7 and then ka 12 they're having lunch. You have to plan your things a week ahead. Okay, now I'm gonna start my cooking process. Event daily Friday.
Sounds like flawless execution.
Yes. So if my event is on a Friday, I'm gonna start my cooking on by Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Thursday is really rest. You don't want to be doing anything, because you'll start work from maybe 11 p.m. and then work through the whole night, and then by 6 o'clock I'm on site. But I've already brought which is either your breakfast or your nibbles or whatever that has to be there. So it really, time management. You need to be able to manage your time, and you need to be, you should, it's better to be early than late. And then you also need to find ways in making sure you teach your team members and your staff food handling, okay, so that it still looks really presentable and looks really good. So I think for us it's time management and knowing even the 100 we can plan it in 2 days. 500, then it means me planning it a week ahead and so forth. So
speaking of the US Africa Summit, you have to cater for heads of state.
Exactly.
What does it entail about people at that level? What are the
paying attention to detail, like making sure we eat you have all the requirements. Okay, Mogobe, and Mr. Mogobe is allergic to this or this. You need to make sure all of that.
You get it from where?
You get it from whoever then is
in charge.
Is in charge of procurement. And there's a lot of it's a whole process. So yeah.
And isn't there a tendering process also?
Okay, so for us, we were engaged by another entity. So I guess they did the whole tendering process, and then when has it to the final stages, that's when now people then come in to say, okay, we're coming in for inspections and all of that. But in most instances, I guess we get our jobs through Riti FOODGIRL, they've done a good job or whatever, and our references speak for us because we've done quite a number of them.
Any surprises or unique learnings handling something like that?
Any surprises?
Where you say, this is interesting.
This is interesting. Mr. Mogobe, sometimes when dealing with customers, It's you find different types of customers, and you kind of have to run with it and figure it out on the way, and you need to learn to be very, very patient and disciplined in all the challenges that you go through. From the beginning of the event up until the end, or a customer who's just never happy about anything. So you learn to live with it, but you always try to bring the best out of it. I mean, after behind every successful event, of course, there's always gibbering and so a lot of pressure. So I don't know how to handle pressure. It really gets to me. So I find myself, when I go through something during an event or whatever, I just take my little corner, cry it out, come back, and I'm like, okay, cool. How do we handle this? So
Any other highlights? Any other triumphs?
Let's see. So catering out of town, catering out of town means you bringing moving your whole kitchen to wherever. So we did an event where we were moving our kitchen to Makadikadi and the pans. And we did that twice. The first time around, it was okay. It was a smooth sail. I wasn't really handling most of the logistics, but I just coming in to do the cooking. But then the second time around, when I then had to handle everything from day one, it was a headache. But I'm completely happy and glad that my clients at the time were really happy with the execution and being able to manage the team and making sure with catering, if lona le ja ka 6 phakela, you can imagine nna gore ke tsogile nako mang. So it really comes with discipline and time management. I can't be sitting around with you and having a drink because I'm thinking so
And tell me about what is it that other caterers are getting wrong? What is the thing that sets you apart and that makes you special? What sets you apart?
What sets us apart? Like I said, time management. I will get to site way before you ask and you will see our team on ground. So our time management, our setups, the way we set up our tables and the
What's
equipment.
So different about it?
Our equipment, high-end equipment, if you ask me. I know. Our high-end equipment and our cleanliness and attention to detail and making sure you eat with your eyes and
not your mouth.
No. You eat with your eyes first. Ba dijo before ogaski, before oga tsena go buleng tsone dijo tsa teng. So I think a lot of caterers we they do things on the day of the event, and set up bringing the tables and they should be done days before or a day before, and making sure by the time when you're just bringing the food. And also I hated the eventing where you set up food happy like a customer. Or bring your food, rice kana koko or the stew, bring it before customer atsena. Customer hatsena sa hapane le di customer o kuka kukile dio tsa gago. So it's really about the time management, the cleanliness of the food and the cleanliness of the people serving the food. So that's it. I think the uniqueness also is just making sure we give you an experience or experiential in terms of the whole eventing, the food thing. Oh, I wish you could experience it.
Well, I will sooner or later. I will.
Yeah.
And now that you've been running this for 6 years, is there anything that you think you could have done differently?
Is there anything that I think I should have done differently? Yeah. I think every little hurdle that I went through, I had to go through it so that when Food Girl BW is what it is today, if I had not had business partners before, if I had just jumped in and not struggled to reka equipment or struggled to get a car, or had people, how similar wa go kopa motho a traka tla ra tla nlaisetse dijo ho ing. I had to go through all those stresses in order for me to know, okay, if now I have my own equipment, ke dira jang in making sure dilo tsa me di tsena di siame di le dintle. So I don't think I could have changed anything. Obviously, having my parents around would have changed it. Gongwe maybe ne ba ka ntha ba re tsa re go tikelle sengwe yaanong ha mama le papa ba sa bole go tlhokagala, and you kind of have to maneuver through it, and then you have your sister who's taking care of family ha gagwe, and then there's you again. O go ka bolla ditsebe, you kind of have to then say so I think I had to go through all of that to know and have the discipline to wanting to be better than what I am. Personally, for me, I don't even think as Sadi or as Basadibotlhe or Food Girl BW, I'm anywhere near, the achievements that I want. I want so much for myself and for my business. So yeah.
You mentioned a little bit about your parents. Perhaps it's a good point for you to share your family background and how it impacted your entrepreneurial life.
Yeah.
And the people involved there.
Yeah. So we're a family of 4, right? With my sisters, and I'm the last born. And Mama Nelly, a nurse, and Papa was working go Dapswana in the mine. So then they passed on when I was in grade 7. So
what year was this?
In 2015. Yes, in 2015. So they passed on when I was in grade 7, and before then.
Be grade 7. If
okay,
you graduated
stand
2007. You wanted to say 2005.
Yes.
Not 2015.
Yes, I want to say 2005. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. So Mama le Papa, then before they passed on, I was schooling in Zimbabwe. I was boarding there, and I was there for all my primary school. So coming back, that's when my mom said, we sing boarding school at a very young age. And unfortunately, when I then arrived, Mama then died about a month or 2 later.
After their dad?
No, after me coming back from Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay. So like 2007 or something? No, in
2005, that's when my mom died.
They heard. And your dad?
And then my dad died a year later.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So in all of that, in me being in boarding school, you kind of have to fend yourself all the time, because you need to guard yourself. Hey, there's a bully right next to me, or how do I deal with this? So I think in the entrepreneurial space, the resilience of even when business wasn't doing great, because obviously we can't say Food Girl has always been a success. There were times when I could cry to bed and worry, like I'm saying, because it's crazy, and I don't have the money sometimes. I can my idea lang that but in all of that,
moi help.
I too, so try help me. Hey,
okay.
Yeah, but it is what it is. It was a time in my life where
So you learned to fend for yourself early, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I learned to fend for myself early, and because of boarding school and my parents, they're actually deciding to take me to that. I used to worry and I used to be so sad. But they took me to good schools. What's wrong? And then I realized in the end, it was because they were preparing me. They didn't know, but Modimo len nang prepare for the time, which is now Food Girl. be resilient, be disciplined, stay the long run, be patient, and I will reward you. So here we are now, and I can say to you, we were doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your sister's role?
My sister, she played a good role because my cooking. She used to say, but o rata go apanna ka ke ngwe sa simolle o rekisa re tla reng re simolla go no go re rekisa, and then eventually this is where we are now. It became a business. And I remember then when business wasn't doing well, she would say, okay, no tla re go bate tiro. Take your degree, let's go and get a job. Give lady to meeting Mr. Mogobe, and I was like, no guys, the
pressurizing you.
No girl, forget about food girl, it's not working. And I told them, guys,
it's gonna work.
It's gonna work.
What are they saying now?
I see the vision. They're just like, oh nak. Ish, we now understand. We see the vision with you, and each time I say to them, this is my plan now for Food Girl, they're like, okay, go ahead, we'll support you.
So
and
you're honoring your vision. You do not allow somebody to take it away or to convince you to abandon it.
In the Bible it says, Habakkuk 2 verse 2, it says, write down your vision
and run with it.
On
the tablets and run with it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I ran with it, and I always have it written down. This is my plan for this year. This is what I'm gonna do. And sometimes you don't get it, but you're like, okay, Mihela, 1 or 2 out of 5 will come true, and you'll get to it. Yeah.
All right. Now, what's the status of the business now in terms of employees, size, and any numbers you can give yourself a pat on the back about? Time for a shameless plug.
We employ 12 young Batswana, all based ko lapeng ke ko broadest. So ke ne ka bata batho within the broadest place, and re hirile bana batho bana ba le 12.
Full time, or they just
full time?
call?
Yes, they're full time, and they work every single day. So I'm proud that I have a whole team. I've got 2 managers. I've got Baba Bereka mo kitchening, the drivers and all the work. So
when you handle a big job like the US Africa Summit, do you now have temporary employees joining?
Yes, then we now have to kind of pick and drop, add people, and obviously when you're a small business, when you're a small business, you're gonna have to also form relationships. Okay, Motona Len is in the coffee business, or Motona Len is in the corporate catering business. How do I ask them to assist me to make my job easier? So keeping relationships and not burning bridges is also what's very important, so that there's something that you need to do, they help you in the success. The next person so it's really about collaborative junctions to make sure that you do a big event.
You say you focus on corporates. Why are you not doing weddings and funerals?
Well, we do get codes here and there, requests of people asking for weddings and but it never really runs through. I don't know why.
Because your focus is on the corporate.
No, but not really. I mean, if I'm gonna send you a quotation and listen to what you have to say to me, then clearly somehow you need to.
So it's not a conscious thing to focus on corporates. So if somebody has a wedding there, they should
call us. They should consider us. We will help them.
Okay.
I think
Speak a little bit about the catering aspect in terms of tents and those sort of physical things. Do you rent them out? How does it work?
We have our own equipment. Initially, when we started, nere adima, but and then when you do the numbers in the long run, you kind of realize, moto is making quite a lot of money.
As in renting.
Yes, we were renting them out, and then I decided, no, let's start buying our own stuff. So I think that alone helps because then your margins stay within you, right? But hella, we are concentrated more on the food aspect of the catering. We are not into the tents and the chairs and because I think that is a little too hectic for me. And ha ke na leihlo lele. Na gore, hey, stilo seleng ka sebajana. No. But with the food, I will definitely give you a run for your money.
In terms of health, there's a big push towards healthy eating and dieting. Is your company conscious of that, and what are you doing about that?
I think we are because we've added, we've also done some intensive training in making sure if there's people with dietary requirements or vegans or vegetarians or whatever, we are able to have a menu that's also interesting, curated for them. So on that regard also
what do you have for someone like me, a pescatarian, somebody who loves fish and veggies but doesn't eat red meat or even white meat?
We have quite a number of dishes.
Tell me about it.
We have quite a number of dishes. I mean, obviously, you need to be able to play around. Know how to do your fishes, how you want to serve it to your client. And somebody who's only vegetarian, for instance, you don't necessarily always have to give them grilled something. You could do like a chickpea and lentil curry and make it taste like kenama. In the essence, there's no meat in it. So, like I said, there's quite a number and a list of things that we do have. Do
you get to train yourself also as a chef?
No, I never got to train myself. I just had to learn through the internet and then kind of benchmark train. Yeah. I didn't go to school. Okay. I had to learn through the internet and figure out, okay, 1, 2, 3. This is how I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
So it's the University of YouTube again.
Exactly.
Okay. Does it really
so
work?
Malaysiano, YouTube, TikTok, it really helps. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of local cuisine, how is your company? Can you speak about that?
Yes, and tasty as well. We do an array of everything. Whether on the European side of things, we try to incorporate a little bit of both because we've realized that there's different customers. You could go to a corporate company, you get to a government office, they have their own way of thinking. So with catering, you are really specific to what your customer wants you to do. If customer say, you give it to them the
Don't
very
you
way.
guide the customer also so that they can eat healthy?
You do guide them, but it all, like they say, the customer. Yeah, the customers are always right, but this is what we suggest. But if you don't want to listen to that, we just give you what you want.
You don't start quoting the World Health Organization saying you must avoid fizzy drinks and whatnot.
No.
Okay. Now let's talk about your triumphs and successes. We've just talked about them. We just talked about those. Now let's touch on your major challenges and setbacks.
Our major challenges. Madi.
Funding.
Not funding per se, but like the payments. Like if we're doing a job, the minute you decide I'm gonna go into the corporate space or a space where now we're using purchase orders and all of that, the cycle is a bit difficult. You don't get paid in time, and if you don't get paid in time, it means
the
cash flow suffers, and sometimes you find having to wait for 3-4 months with your money not coming in. As a small business, it's really frustrating. So the challenges we have mainly are the monetary issues, the finances,
So
our
are you
cash flow.
expected to, if you have a GPO, to buy the food and to cook the food without any input from
Exactly.
from the client?
From the client. For as
So-
long as also purchase order in most instances, ga ba go neele sepe. Then you have the headache of running with them. Gore bathong kana sa le re lehile dijo 2 months back ka April la reng yano. Are you then saying re kolotane dijo that period? Expectation is like ra go 30 days, you expect the monies in 30 days, and then 30 days there's nothing. So I
now you,
think
instead of working on what you are good at, you are busy chasing debt.
you are busy chasing debt. And then when you chase that debt, you chase carefully, you tread carefully, because also you don't want to be losing the customer, because ne ke mana le motho wa ko payments kana wa ko accounts, so hey, that's a challenge we have to all go through, unfortunately. Gore me ke ikobe, but go ikoba ga teng, hey, go dingalo.
And any other setbacks or challenges?
Spaces, like in terms of finding bigger spaces tsa go berekela mo go tsone, that's been a challenge. I remember.
How did you overcome that?
Oh, so what I did is, beginning of the year, we wanted to move into a bigger space, and finding the spaces was okay, but then you'll find gore motho ha tla bara I get the motho wa kitchen and this that. So, and then I decided, okay, because now I am working with I've been in this space, which is where we're working from now. My landlord then decided, so I asked something on the side that I can build a structure so that we can try and work from that space. And
So you built your own structure
I
within the
built
landlord's
within
premises.
the landlord's premises. I be re nna le ditumalano tsa rona, so I'm hoping ha nchenchele anytime soon.
It's
Yeah.
working for now.
And for now it's working for us, and we're still able to separate the business from the personal space. So we're working in, the business has its own place, gore berekelang teng, and it's been
So-
like that for the past 5 years.
You say that you bought some equipment. How did you handle that? How did you fund that?
So as we're doing jobs, you are getting paid, and obviously you're not giving people food at cost. So it's really about the discipline. Go save, o bo re make go reka oven, o bo save ka mo make go reka di grill le di flat top, o bo save ka mo go reka a car, o bo save like that. That's how I did it. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you're currently busy? Lots of customers?
I mean, the winter period is a bit tricky, but we've been busy with the mobile coffee catering side of things.
How does that work?
So we set up our coffee machine, and
Where?
wherever you call us to do it. So we bring that to the customer's place. Then good. The kitchen can also do the food, but if they're just looking for the coffees, we set up the coffees, the
Including
different
tea.
and the teas, salon blends, all types, and then we make our coffees from there. And then so that, because it's a bit cold, it brings a bit of warmth to people. So we're busy with that. But in general, hella, the kitchen has always something to do, so which is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I've heard other startups saying that bankers are not very responsive to their needs. How has that been for you? Or you don't need credit in that sense?
I do, and I have gotten a bit of assistance here and there. I have, and
YDF
unfortunately,
and that sort of thing.
no, not YDF. I did go to my bank where I was banking at the time, and this really happened when I wasn't expecting it, because I just thought, nanga ke ka thusiwa ke banka or anything like that, and
Why
fortunately.
were you so negative?
I get that's the narrative hela around di banka ha di thusi whatnot. And then for me, then when I wanted to get my coffee machine, I was like, I really want this machine, but it's expensive. And then fortunately, I was able to do it, and I got the assistance. So I think how banks like keep your money, have a proper track record, and you are responsible with your finances, you won't have to go through the whole hari thuswi ke batho.
So the banks are not so bad after all.
They're not so bad after all.
Yeah, in your experience.
Yeah.
Now, who are your heroes and your mentors? You already mentioned one.
Yeah.
And why are those people so important to you? Two-part question.
Yeah, why are they so important?
Who they are and why they're so important.
Okay. Locally, right? I think the story, like I said, Newman is just that, being a dropout out of varsity and then building such a big company and being a millionaire at such a young age. For me, I was just like, wow, this is inspiring. That means Linna, I can eventually get to that point someday. And then him really believing in the brand and knowing her, but I've seen you do this when you were with the previous company. You can do this on your own. And him believing pulela business and thusa gore secretary in bankanyetse, then that means Linna ke tla khona. So for me, that always in my mind kept me running gore kana.
So he's a big hero.
Yeah, so that I think I wouldn't say it in that many words in that word, but yeah, he's been of help. Yeah, so he's been really helpful, and just me learning hella in the small meetings that we've had. Listen, I'm going through this kirejang. So, and then those little pieces of advice, yeah, they've been quite great.
Who else?
Well, my sister, of course. Yeah.
What did she do?
I mean, the emotional support,
Okay.
and her also then being there for me, Monica being there to run with me. I remember there was a time when I was doing an event. It was for like 1,000 people, and I said to customer, no, I'll be able to do it. I've got everything done. And her helping me and doing it from her sitting room. It was like, wow. She was there for me. So she's my superwoman. Like I appreciate her for that. And
what's her name?
Monica Monso.
Shout out, Monica. Well done.
Yeah, Monica Monso. She was there for me, like during the birthing of FOODGIRL and everything, the steps, borrow me the cars and all of that. So yeah.
What about all these celebrity chefs? You don't have a mentor there? You don't have a hero there?
Okay, somebody in SA. Let's see.
I mean, celebrity chefs in general.
Celebrity chefs in general.
Oh, you don't watch these food shows?
I do watch these food shows, but I kind of find maybe I don't like something that they're doing, so I'd rather not mention any celebrities. But there is people that I kind of look up to, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
And is there a particular show or a book or any source of information that you want to share which has impacted you?
A show.
Nothing comes to mind.
I don't even watch TV. I'm so bad.
Yeah. No, even on social media you can.
Even on social media. Oh wow.
You didn't expect that question.
I didn't expect that question. I
Okay.
didn't expect it.
So, what's your source of inspiration? What is the fuel that keeps you going when it gets tough? Where is your inspiration coming from?
Where is it coming from? Just knowing, how everything started, and where I am now, and how I wish everything to turn out in the long run is what keeps me going. But the circumstances a couple of years ago, and then now how you're living, you're living your answered prayers. So in the next coming years, you're still doing this, then you can get to that and attain that. So just knowing, but I've done this, I've been doing this, keeps me going.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the long-term plans for the company? But before I talk about that, tell me about your social media activity and how you've used the internet and social media to position your business.
Okay, so we've got our Instagram on the FOODGIRL BW page, right? So that alone, making sure we are interactive, doing your reels, and curating all that content is what is keeping us afloat. Because if you're not sharing content, if you're not interactive and showing a little bit of yourself, this year has shown me if you show the people omang as sadi, because I used to shy away and be in my own little corner, because generally, yes, I am a shy person. So I think giving a little bit of yourself out allows you to keep your page or your business page afloat, and people want to see what you're doing and what you're up to.
What do you normally post?
How we're running the whole event, from the preparations to the little snippets of showing the relationships between the different members of the team. Okay, that alone keeps people engaged. On Instagrams, that alone keeps people engaged.
So you're on Instagram live?
Not live, just the really hella or the story. So like, for instance, there was on another day, there's two guys in our team. There's Refilwe and Papi. Refilwe, they're close, of the same age, so they keep bickering at each other, but they have this really great relationship. So you just showing Rajang from the morning in the wee hours, 12 a.m. up until Zazila Hofelo, kana relationship in Tijana. So it keeps people interested, and it shows Did
you manage to garner a big following because of that?
Well, we had a big following on our Facebook page, then Yonea FOODGIRL, and then these hackers, these things are true. It was at 15K, and then we lost the page, so we've restarted.
How did you lose it?
I don't even know too.
Apparently, the whole thing is you mustn't click on to any of these. Sometimes you get a threat. They say your internet thing is flouting this. Click here to find out.
Then that's the end.
Yeah.
So I think somehow, I don't know what happened. One of us, because obviously there's the phone business and the social media, handle there's two or three of us. So one of us who and
doesn't disclose.
So that's what happened. So
you're down to how many followers now?
Now we are at I'm even ashamed. Guys, follow.
Yeah, because you have to start.
Follow because you have to start. Now we're at 2.1.
Okay.
But
and then Instagram?
Yes, Instagram is at 2.1, and then Facebook. We don't have a Facebook page.
You haven't reopened it yet.
We haven't reopened it yet, but we are working on that.
Okay. And And is there a strategy? Is there an overall marketing strategy online?
I guess keeping people engaged and making sure that you show a little bit of your personality and showing them how you do things. And I think that's what's been gaining us a lot more numbers. Yeah.
What do you say to those business persons who say that social media is a waste of time? They're not interested in attracting too much attention to themselves. They don't want to be bothered with social media. What advice would you give such people?
There can never be too much attention. You need the attention, because when people know about you, you never know. There's people sitting down and wanting something, but if they remember, you need to strive always to be a household name. And if you're a household name, then you know easily, somewhere somehow somebody will think of you at first instance. FOODGIRL. If FOODGIRL doesn't work out, there's also many other caterers or people in the business that could assist. Yeah.
So how do you make yourself a household name?
Like I said, making sure every event is experiential, making sure that every event there's no hurdles, double time management, and that's all you need as an individual and as Wana Motswana. So with all those little that's the word, with all those little things combined into one, I take it you get to that point.
Yeah.
And
what about outside Botswana? How has the response been, and how is FOODGIRL BW received?
Outside Botswana,
If at all.
I don't think we're out there yet.
Are you not intending to venture out?
I mean, those are my dreams. Those are our dreams.
Yeah.
We do want to get to that point, but I think Honana, the response that we've been getting around Botswana, Mogaboroni, outside, a lot of people do know and are very much aware of our business, so our core business and what we do in the corporate space, in the catering space. So with time, only time will tell, and doing things and steady growth is what is really needed.
Supposing I have something big like a birthday party, turning 40 or 50, and I'm thinking of FOODGIRL BW.
Yeah.
What would be your advice, and what is the process taking me from start to finish? What's involved in planning and executing a successful major birthday party?
Well, first of all, I get the first major questions would be, if you're going to be calling us, then obviously be very certain of your date, the time of which your food being delivered, and the type of guests that you're going to be having around, and the type of meals and food that you want. If you know whether it's a buffet or it's a pre-pack, and you know what time the food is being served and the date, then it's quite easy for us.
Well, you have to guide me. You have to take me through the process and ask me, tick this, choose this.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me your guests ke bafe, of course, then I'll be able to advise. Okay, no, it's a group of middle-aged people, then it's easier for me to share the menus, the number of menus that we have within the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then who decides on the venue?
Who decides on the venue?
Are you not the one who recommends?
I can recommend, but in most instances you find that customers already know where they're doing the event, and really for me I'm really just coming in to make sure you don't have to worry about the food catering aspect. But if you then come to me and say, please manage the whole thing for me, then that's a different ball game. I can always
including
advise
organizing MCs and
exactly.
DJs.
That's
you
a
do
whole
that as well?
I don't like doing that, because then if the one party isn't coming through and is not doing what is agreed, it always falls back on you. So I don't do the management like that. I'd rather just deal with what I'm good at, which is the food catering, and that's
So then
all.
how do you make it connect seamlessly with others? Because you do depend on these other role players, don't you?
Yeah, we do, but in most instances, we only get to meet about 2-3 days prior to the event. So if there's anything that I need from another party or another entity which is within the planning of the event, I will definitely communicate and say to you, but hana o tla be re sa dire sentle, ha go iragala yana.
Yeah. Where is the moolah? I always want to know about the moolah. How do you guys make serious money? And is there serious money in this industry?
How do
People
we
may be
make-
watching.
Where's the money? Mr. Mogobe, there can never be enough money. Madi hayo. Madi hayo. But it's like we are at a comfortable zone. Yeah, madi hayo, but there is money in the business. You just need to be able to